guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe, and I wanted to talk about the sequel to Evil Dead Trap, which I just finished watching, Evil Dead Trap 2 Hideki. So, I don't really want to ruin the first movie in any way, but the name Hideki is a character from the first film that's very popular, and they are using it in the subtitle or whatever you want to call it, secondary name in this film. This film was released in 1992. It's a Japanese movie again, obviously, so it's all in Japanese with English subtitles, so you have to be in the mood. And I found the correlation between the first film and the second to be extremely, extremely loose. So, I guess spoiler alert, because I kind of have to. If you haven't seen the first film or the first review, I'd watch those first. But the baby, mutant baby demon with the special powers from the first film is in the second film in some facet, but not really. The main plot of the story is the main character is a chubby Japanese woman who works as a projectionist in a movie theater, and she seems kind of lonely. She's supposedly socially awkward and stuff, and she's friends with a woman who used to be a Japanese idol. It's like those, kind of like Britney Spears, I guess, in Japan. It's sort of hard to explain, but they do modeling and they do singing and stuff. So anyhow, she's friends with her and she introduces him to this guy. She introduces her, to this guy who's married and he's like hitting on her. And the ex-idol, who is a news reporter, is also sleeping with him. So he's sleeping with the idol and he's trying to sleep with the chubby main character. And meanwhile, the chubby main character is going out to bars, like sleazy places, getting drunk. And she's starting to, you don't know if it's fantasizing, or real. These murders start happening around her. So you don't know if they're real or if she's thinking they're happening. Meanwhile, the ex-idol news reporter, her friend, is going to all the crime scenes and filming and doing, news reports, and she's getting off on it. So they're filming it, they're watching them back later with all the dead bodies. They're pretty gory and grotesque, and she's getting horny over them. And then everything gets very strange. It's a pretty good story, but then everything kind of flips on its head maybe a little past the halfway mark and starts making less sense. There's this whole underlying story about an abortion one of the characters had and that they can't get over it. And then that ties into the mutant baby from the first film, which really doesn't make any sense. There's fighting between a lot of the main characters, and again, gory, like arms breaking through skin and stabbings and guts coming out and things like that. But it doesn't really get gory until probably 3/4 into the way of the film. And then it just gets so weird that I got confused as to what was really going on. And then you don't know, is some of it real or is it some of it like dream sequences? So it was very strange. It had an interesting plot, an interesting main character, because you usually don't see these kind of, I guess, chubbier, homelier looking Japanese women, or I guess in general, as a main character. It almost feels like a mystery movie through most of the film. It's not nearly as fun, interesting in any facet as the first film, or gory as the first film. There's some body horror near the end of the movie, but it just didn't capture the same feeling as the first film. I thought the first film was a really nice piece of 80s kind of, a little bit of cheese, body horror, gore, interesting mystery. This had some of it, but it just didn't capture the same feeling. If you're really into the first film, which I assume you are because you're watching this, I would probably give this a watch, but really understand that the connections to the first film are so loose that it doesn't even feel like a sequel besides that name, Hideki. Everything else is just its own plot point and story. It really has nothing to do with the first film that I could figure out. The first movie was directed and written by totally different people, So I think they just maybe used it to ride the coattails of the first film. I know the third movie is completely unrelated. Maybe this one they thought would just tie in very slightly, but it really didn't. I found the ending to be sort of lackluster, and again, because it gets confusing around the halfway or so point, I don't know what's real and what's sort of imagination in the film. Decent movie. Doesn't really compare to the first film, and this isn't one I would pick up on Blu-ray. So let me know, guys, if you've seen Evil Dead Trap 2. I thought it was, pretty good. It held my attention, but it really had a lot to live up to compared to the first film. Like I probably would give the first film a 7. I'd give this one like a 5. It was okay. It's something I may watch again in the future and maybe try and get a little more out of it, but it just doesn't compare to the first. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you've seen Evil Dead Trap 2. I'm curious of people's opinions on this one. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.